Welcome to conference, and we are continuing our semester on why Ashtanga. You could be doing a lot of other things, and this one is not particularly easy. So why did you choose this? A little bit about the history and also talking in details about the methodology. I think all of us kind of like finding a place where, yeah, I love this. So last week I was talking about, before the Chinese New Year, how this for us is not a yoga class, it is our practice, sadhana. And I also talked about when it is your practice, it becomes abhyasa, which is long time practicing something spiritual that you're dedicated to for a long time. And I compared it to a marriage. You know, we fall in love with something, and we fall in love with a lot of things, but they don't always stick. Just like we fell in love with a lot of people, and then all of a sudden you fell in love with this one person, you started having these thoughts like, you might be my person. You might be the person that I want to go through life with, that I want to grow old with, that I want to work through troubled times with. And that becomes abhyasa, that's a marriage. And so for us in Ashtanga, when we fall in love with the practice, it becomes a marriage. You have a marriage to the practice, and there's that, oh, I'm in love with you, and then there's also plateaus, and there's like hard times, and just like any good marriage, it's a mixed bag of all those, you know. And so then this week I want to say, in that marriage you have, really number one is to your practice. You have made a commitment to your practice. Long term, I hope we all get to do this as long as we're on the planet. But in this system, something I really value and love is there's normally a teacher-student relationship. And even for those of you that are out on our YouTube channel, many of you have relationships with me and reach out to me, and I value that. Because I think that's one of the things that is precious to us in this lifetime, is forming relationships, and a student-teacher relationship has its own energy, has its own beauty, has its own abhyasa, has its own chapters as well. Some of my students now have been with me for over 20 years, and I have seen through life, the chapters, it's never just, oh, your practice is getting strong now. Oh, you're excited about your practice. Oh, this is a hard time, you're injured in your practice. Every time you come to class, you bring every bit of your life. So I know when your kids are getting married. I know when your pets have passed away. I know when you're going through a hard time with your business or careers. Like, that's all part of your practice and part of your relationship with your practice and your relationship with me. And so I feel like in my commitment to all of you, I am drawn to do two things in particular. And the first thing is to inspire you. I feel like that's one of the reasons you have a teacher, because any relationship can get boring and stale, or like you just want the next thing. But part of what I want to give all of you is this idea that we continue to be refreshed and inspired with what we're doing. And in that, I feel like it is also my job to hold all of you accountable. You know, so, you know, you wear a wedding ring, and this kind of represents a promise I made, but it also says I'm accountable to another person. And it's a beautiful thing about a teacher-student relationship, because I hold this space for you. We call this Shala, but really I hold this space for you to kind of come and go. Sometimes you're injured, you got to back off a little bit, you come back. I hold a space for you to say, this feels like a crappy chapter of this, I don't even know. Or times when you're excited and things are shifting. Like, that's part of a teacher's job, is to really hold that space for you to experience all that. And also, I guess there's three things then I would say is my job is also in inspiring, is also to challenge you, because this is your school. And it's never like, you know, I've arrived and this is where I'm going to be. Although, believe it or not, we kind of get in that place in our heads sometimes. So what I see for myself and all of you as part of this practice is just like brushing your teeth. You know, you just come here and you do it because you know it keeps you clean and healthy and vibrant. And you know if you stop doing it, you're not as healthy. So part of it is just dedication, discipline, commitment. Boom, there it is. And I hold that space for that. But there's also this piece where this is your school, and you want to challenge yourself, and you want to learn, and you want to continue to grow. And no matter how young or old we are, or where we are in our life in this process, like, you know, I'm 54 this year, and I still want to have breakthroughs. And I also want to let go of things. You know, it's part of the process of this. And the teacher is that person who will challenge you in that. So I set it all up because I have a challenge for all of you. Yay! But you might not feel like that. To be honest with you, this particular challenge is usually one where people are like, leave me alone. I am brushing my teeth and I'm totally fine with my practice the way it is. But we need to shift and we need to change. And so one of the ways that we've been looking at changing the last month is through up dog, because we do a gazillion of them, right? So we were improving on that heart opening up dog. So now I feel like we need to back up and set up our up dog well with Chaturanga. And we're going to work on it this week, and I'm going to ask all of you, to do something you don't normally do, and do it. So in Mysore, I was like, you're not doing what I told you to do. I want you to really do this. Because it will create shifts. So when we were talking about the Chinese New Year, one of the things I always tell my folks is I want you to move your furniture around. Even if you don't like it, if you put your chair, your sofa over here and you're tripping over it and you hate it, I'm like, just for a while, I want you to move your furniture around and shift it around, because it shifts this. Our patterns, our habitual patterns. I want you to shake it up and start thinking different, looking at things different, and falling over things and recognizing something. So this is me moving your furniture in your body, moving your furniture in your practice. So Chaturanga is meant to be from a plank position to be a strong spine, a strong back, strong legs. My cervical spine is connected, the top of my head to my mula bandha, the base of my spine. When we don't have enough upper body or core strength, we tend to do things like this. As we start bending the elbows, we start to lead with the belly and lift the chest a little bit. Also, if we don't have quite enough strength, we might exaggerate and really pull our elbows in so we can support ourselves with our arms rather than our structure. And another thing that I see sometimes is we'll lift our butt a little bit in order to help compensate for that as well. So the Chaturanga we're looking for is that plank position where the elbows track over the wrist, and I maintain that position through till I get possibly my arms parallel with the rest of my body. Now, if I show you this today, and we all look at this, it's really important to have your drishti here, because if I start looking back at my toes, notice what happens. I gotta compensate somewhere. But if I show you good form in Chaturanga, as your teacher would, will you all do it today? So you guys can't see this out here, but they're all shaking their heads yes, we will do it. But the answer is no, you won't do it. You won't do it because you don't have the structure. If you have one of these issues, you have only gotten better and created more muscle memory around doing this. So if I ask you today to just do it correctly, for many of you, you don't have the muscle structure yet. You don't have the strength yet to do it correctly. So we have to move the furniture. We have to do something different in order to create that strength. And so what we're going to do this week is going to build on what we're going to do next week. Because Chaturanga is a big boy for the year, for us to take on, all of us improving our Chaturanga. So we're going to just take it one bit at a time. And even if you could show me here and just say, Dai, look at my Chaturanga. It's brilliant. It's perfect. I don't need this. I want you to move your furniture anyway, because I want you to work differently with your muscles and to shift your thinking around how you are in Chaturanga. And for 1 week, take it on as a practice. So what I'm going to ask you all to do is to be in Chaturanga rather than, plank. And to do, for many of you, you're going to do a micro bend, and then you're going to come back up, because I only want you to go as far as you can maintain your plank, beautiful structure of the spine and the legs. Once you take your Chaturanga, maybe this is as far as you come, and you push back up into full plank, strong plank. Notice I haven't changed my drishti. I'm not looking down. I'm strong. Then you're going to drop into up dog from plank position, which is lovely because it's kind of a higher position for us to drop into our up dog from. So from standing, I'm just going to demonstrate it would be stepping back, but you can jump back as well. I inhale, my arms up. I exhale, forward. I inhale, I look forward. So that's my drishti in third position. In fourth position, I don't change my drishti. I'm strong in my mind, strong in my body. I take a mini bend back to the top, and then I come into up dog. So the main points here are Drishti, strong plank, top of the head in alignment with the base of the spine, strong legs, barely bend, or if you can come a little further and keep that structure, it's good. Come all the way back to the top. Most of you that were already here earlier this week will tell us that it already felt different, right? It kind of changed how you feel. So that's our homework for this week, and then next week we're going to add to it. Here's your quote for this week, because I'm trying to change the way our energy, our thinking energy, by Swami Vivekananda. We are our thoughts. We are what our thoughts have made us. So take care of what you think. Words are secondary. Thoughts live and travel far. And Wayne Dyer said this. I was recently in the airport and read this. It's so simple, but I love it so much. I hope you'll take these words almost on as a mantra. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.